Lost in your own doubt, you wonder if you'll ever find your way back to yourself. You remember a time when you trusted your instincts, when you moved through life with a quiet confidence, when your heart felt like home. But now, every decision feels like a risk. Every step forward is shadowed by hesitation, and the voice inside you is no longer a guide, it's a question mark. You're afraid to follow your own footsteps. You look back and see the places where you stumbled, the moments when you trusted and were let down, the times you believed in something or someone and ended up hurt. You wonder if you can trust your own judgment, if you can rely on your own intuition, if you can ever believe in your own choices again. When your heart feels like a stranger, it's hard to know which way to turn. You want to move forward, to start fresh, to rebuild the trust that was broken. But every time you try, the memories return, the betrayal, the disappointment, the pain of being wrong about someone or about yourself. Trust shattered by betrayal is not just about losing faith in others. It's about losing faith in your own ability to know what's right for you. It's about questioning your own reality, doubting your own feelings, wondering if you can ever trust your own heart again. You stand at the crossroads of fear and hope. One path leads back to the safety of self-protection, never risking, never opening up, never letting yourself believe again. The other path is uncertain, unmarked, and terrifying. It asks you to try again, to risk being hurt, to believe that you can rebuild what was broken. Can you believe in yourself again? Can you learn to trust your own voice, even after it led you into pain? Can you forgive yourself for the times you didn't see the warning signs, for the times you ignored your own needs, for the times you put your faith in the wrong people? You remember the moment when trust was broken. Maybe it was a friend who betrayed your confidence, a partner who walked away, a family member who let you down. Maybe it was a promise you made to yourself and couldn't keep. Maybe it was a dream that didn't come true, a hope that was crushed, a risk that ended in regret. You carry the scars of those moments. You feel them in the way you hesitate before making a decision, in the way you second-guess your own feelings, in the way you hold back from new opportunities. You want to move forward, but the past keeps pulling you back. You ask yourself, how do I trust myself again after being hurt? You wonder if it's even possible, if the damage is too deep, if the wounds will ever heal. You long for the freedom to believe in your own heart, to follow your own path, to trust your own journey. You notice how you've built walls around your heart, not just to keep others out, but to keep yourself from making the same mistakes. You tell yourself it's safer this way, that you're protecting yourself from more pain. But in the quiet moments, you feel the loneliness, the longing, the ache for connection, not just with others, but with your own soul. You remember the times you listened to your intuition and it led you somewhere beautiful. You remember the moments when you trusted yourself and it felt right, even if it was hard. You wonder if you can find that feeling again, if you can rebuild the bridge between your mind and your heart. You crave the confidence to make choices without fear, to stand by your own side, to know that even if things go wrong, you will not abandon yourself. You want to be able to say, I trust myself, and mean it not as a wish, but as a truth. You ask, what would it take to believe in myself again? What would it feel like to move through the world with trust, not just in others, but in my own heart? You imagine a life where you can listen to your own needs, honor your own boundaries, and forgive yourself for the times you got it wrong. You dream of waking up and feeling at home in your own skin, of making decisions with clarity, of loving yourself enough to try again. Lost in your own doubt, you search for a way back. Afraid to follow your own footsteps, you hesitate at every turn. When your heart feels like a stranger, you long for the comfort of self-trust. Trust shattered by betrayal leaves you standing at the crossroads of fear and hope. This is where your journey begins, not with certainty, not with perfection, but with the courage to ask the question, can you believe in yourself again? If you're standing at that crossroads, if you're tired of doubting your own heart, if you're ready to find your way back, to trust this message is for you. You are not alone in this struggle. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not defined by the times you were hurt. You are exactly where you need to be to begin. You find yourself questioning every instinct as if your own mind has become unfamiliar territory. You hesitate before every decision, no matter how small, because you're afraid of making another mistake. You wonder if you can trust your gut, or if it will lead you down the same path that ended in pain. You remember the last time you followed your heart, and how it left you standing in the ruins of your own hope. Haunted by the memory of being wrong, you replay the past like a movie you can't turn off. You see yourself trusting, believing, opening up only to be let down, disappointed, or betrayed. You ask yourself, how could I have missed the signs? Why didn't I listen to the warnings? You feel the sting of regret, the sharp edge of self-blame, the ache of wishing you could go back and choose differently. The echo of what if in your mind is relentless. What if you had said no? What if you had walked away sooner? What if you had trusted your doubts instead of your dreams? You get lost in the maze of possibilities, searching for the one path that would have spared you the hurt. Uncertain of your own reflection, you look in the mirror and see someone you don't fully recognize. You wonder if you're still the person you used to be, or if the pain has changed you in ways you can't undo. You notice the hesitation in your eyes, the caution in your smile, the way you hold yourself back from the world. Drowning in second guessing, you find it hard to move forward. Every choice feels risky. Every opportunity is shadowed by doubt. You ask friends for advice, hoping they'll give you the certainty you can't find within yourself. But even when they reassure you, the uncertainty lingers, a fog that refuses to lift. The ache of not knowing who to trust, especially when it's you, settles deep in your bones. You want to believe in your own wisdom, to rely on your own judgment, to feel safe in your own decisions. But the fear of being wrong again is paralyzing. You wonder if you'll ever be able to trust your own heart, or if you're destined to live in the shadow of your own doubt. You remember the times you ignored your instincts, only to regret it later. You remember the times you listened to your intuition, and it led you somewhere beautiful until it didn't. You wonder if you can ever trust that inner voice again, or if it's been silenced by too many disappointments. You notice how you defer to others, letting them make choices for you, hoping they'll get it right. You find yourself apologizing for your feelings, minimizing your needs, shrinking your dreams to fit someone else's expectations. You worry that if you assert yourself, you'll make the wrong call, and the cycle of regret will start all over again. You ask yourself, how do I rebuild trust with myself when I'm the one who let me down? You long for the confidence to make decisions without fear, to stand by your own side, to know that even if things go wrong, you will not abandon yourself. You feel the tension between wanting to move forward and being afraid to try. You crave the freedom to take risks, to follow your heart, to believe in your own potential. But the memory of past pain holds you back, whispering that it's safer to stay where you are, to avoid the possibility of being hurt again. You wonder if anyone else feels this way, if anyone else knows what it's like to be at war with their own instincts, to crave certainty but find only confusion. You keep your struggle hidden, afraid that if others knew how lost you feel, they'd see you as weak or broken. You notice how your self-doubt seeps into every area of your life. You hesitate to try new things, to pursue new opportunities, to open your heart to new relationships. You tell yourself you're protecting yourself, but deep down, you know you're missing out on the life you want to live. You ask, what would it take to trust myself again? What would it feel like to make a choice and stand by it no matter the outcome? You imagine a life where you can listen to your own voice, honor your own needs, and forgive yourself for the times you got it wrong. You hope for a day when you can move through the world with confidence, when you can trust your own heart, when you can believe in your own wisdom. Questioning every instinct, you search for a way back to yourself. Haunted by the memory of being wrong, you hesitate at every turn. The echo of what if keeps you stuck in the past. Uncertain of your own reflection, you long for the comfort of self-trust. Drowning in second guessing, you wonder if you'll ever feel sure again. The ache of not knowing who to trust, especially when it's you, reminds you how much you want to heal. You may not have all the answers. You may not know how to trust yourself yet, but you're still searching, still hoping, still trying. And that is enough for now. You walk through your days carrying invisible wounds, the kind no one else can see. They don't bleed, but they ache. They don't show up on your skin, but you feel them in your bones. You wonder if anyone notices the way you flinch at your own thoughts, the way you hesitate before every decision, the way you hold your breath when it's time to trust yourself. The heaviness of broken promises to yourself is a weight you know too well. You remember the times you swore you'd never let it happen again, the times you promised to listen to your gut, to stand up for your needs, to protect your own heart, but when the moment came, you faltered. You let fear speak louder than your own wisdom. You let old patterns win. You broke your own heart, and the disappointment lingers. There's a silence after self-betrayal that is louder than any argument. It's the quiet that settles in when you realize you've let yourself down. You don't need anyone else to criticize you. You do it better than anyone. You replay the moment, the choice, the words you wish you could take back. You sit in the aftermath, feeling the sting of your own letdown, feeling like your own worst critic. You turn every mistake into a reason to doubt yourself. You hold yourself to impossible standards, expecting perfection, punishing every slip. You notice how quickly you forgive others, how easily you offer them understanding. But when it comes to your own heart, you are relentless. You wonder why it's so hard to give yourself the grace you give so freely to everyone else. The burden of not believing your own voice grows heavier with every day. You start to question your own reality, to wonder if your feelings are valid, if your instincts can be trusted. You ask for advice, hoping someone else will give you the certainty you can't find within. But even when others reassure you, the doubt remains, a shadow that follows you everywhere. You feel the fatigue of always doubting your next move. Every decision becomes a battle, every choice a test. You hesitate, you overthink, you second guess. You worry that you'll make the wrong call, that you'll end up hurt again, that you'll prove yourself right about being untrustworthy. You notice how this exhaustion seeps into every part of your life. You find it hard to start new projects, to pursue new dreams, to open your heart to new relationships. You tell yourself you're protecting yourself, but deep down, you know you're holding yourself back. You remember the times you let yourself down, the moments you ignored your own needs, the days you silenced your own voice. You feel the sting of regret, the ache of missed opportunities, the pain of not standing up for yourself. You wonder if you'll ever be able to trust yourself again, or if you're destined to live in the shadow of your own doubt. You notice how you shrink from your own reflection, how you avoid looking yourself in the eye, how you turn away from your own truth. You feel the weight of your own judgment, the heaviness of your own disappointment, the sadness of not being your own ally. You ask yourself, how do I move forward when I'm the one holding myself back? How do I learn to trust my own heart when it's let me down before? You long for the freedom to make choices without fear, to stand by your own side, to know that even if things go wrong, you will not abandon yourself. You want to believe that you can be your own safe place, your own source of comfort, your own best friend. You feel the loneliness of not trusting your own voice. You crave connection not just with others, but with yourself. You want to feel at home in your own mind, to believe in your own wisdom, to trust your own journey. You notice how you apologize for your feelings, how you minimize your needs, how you let others decide for you. You wonder if you'll ever be able to stand tall in your own truth, to speak up for your own happiness, to choose yourself without guilt. You imagine what it would be like to lay down this burden, to let go of the need for perfection, to forgive yourself for being human. You dream of a day when you can move through the world with confidence, when you can trust your own heart, when you can believe in your own wisdom. Carrying invisible wounds, you long for healing. The heaviness of broken promises to yourself weighs you down. The silence after self-betrayal is deafening. Feeling like your own worst critic, you crave compassion. The burden of not believing your own voice keeps you small. The fatigue of always doubting your next move leaves you longing for rest. This is the weight you carry, the burden of lost trust. It is heavy, but it is not permanent. It is real, but it is not the end of your story. You are not alone in this struggle. There are others who know this weight, who have felt this ache, who are learning, just like you, to put it down. And as you move forward, you will begin to see that this heaviness, as crushing as it feels, is not your destiny. It is the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter where you learn to trust yourself, not because you're perfect, but because you're willing to try again. There comes a moment when you realize trust is rebuilt, not found. It's not something you stumble upon by accident, or something that magically returns after being lost. It's a bridge you construct, plank by plank, with every small promise you keep to yourself. You begin to see that trust isn't a gift you give once, it's a practice, a commitment, a daily act of courage. You start learning to listen to your inner compass, even when it feels rusty or unreliable. You notice the subtle nudges, the quiet hunches, the gentle pull toward what feels right. You realize that your intuition never truly left you. It just got buried under layers of fear, disappointment, and self-doubt. You begin to experiment, to test your instincts in small ways, to see if you can trust yourself with little choices before the big ones. You look at your scars and see survival, not shame. You understand that every wound you carry is proof that you made it through something hard. You stop seeing your past as a list of failures and start seeing it as a map of lessons learned. You realize that your scars are not evidence of weakness, but of resilience, of the strength it took to keep going. You begin to understand that healing is a process, not a destination. It's not a finish line you cross, but a journey you walk, sometimes with confidence, sometimes with trembling steps. You let go of the fantasy that one day you'll wake up and all the pain will be gone. Instead, you start to appreciate the small shifts, the moments when you feel a little lighter, a little braver, a little more willing to try again. You let go of the need for certainty. You accept that you can't predict every outcome, that you can't guarantee you'll never be hurt again. You realize that trust isn't about knowing everything will work out. It's about believing you can handle whatever comes, even if it's hard. You start to see that uncertainty is not your enemy, but a space where growth and possibility live. You choose to give yourself another chance. You decide that your past mistakes don't disqualify you from trying again. You forgive yourself for the times you got it wrong, for the moments you ignored your own needs, for the days you doubted your own worth. You remind yourself that you are allowed to begin again, as many times as it takes. You notice how your relationship with yourself begins to shift. You become more patient with your own process, more compassionate with your own struggles, more willing to celebrate your own progress. You stop demanding perfection and start honoring effort. You realize that every time you show up for yourself, you are rebuilding trust, one small act at a time. You start to see your life as a series of experiments, not a test you have to pass. You give yourself permission to try, to fail, to learn, to grow. You understand that every choice you make is a chance to practice self-trust, to prove to yourself that you are worthy of your own belief. You begin to notice the difference between fear and intuition. Fear shouts, demands, and paralyzes. Intuition whispers, nudges, and invites. You learn to pause, to listen, to ask yourself, is this fear or is this my inner compass guiding me? You realize that trusting yourself doesn't mean you'll never make mistakes again. It means you'll have your own back, no matter what happens. It means you'll treat yourself with kindness, even when things go wrong. It means you'll keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear. You remind yourself, trust is rebuilt, not found. My inner compass is still alive, even if it's quiet. My scars are proof of my survival, not my shame. Healing is a process, not a destination. I can let go of certainty and choose to give myself another chance. You start to believe that you are capable of making good choices, that you can learn from your past, that you can trust yourself to grow. You see that every day is a new opportunity to practice self-trust, to honor your own wisdom, to move forward with hope. You are not defined by the times you doubted yourself. You are defined by your willingness to try again, to listen to your own heart, to believe in your own journey. This is the turning point. This is where you stop waiting for trust to magically appear and start building it, one gentle step at a time. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are learning to trust yourself again, and that is a victory worth celebrating. Healing begins with making small promises and keeping them. You don't have to leap into trust all at once. You start with the tiniest commitments, waking up when you say you will, drinking water when your body asks, pausing to breathe when your mind races. Each time you follow through, you send a message to your heart. I am here for you. I will not abandon you again. You celebrate every brave decision, no matter how small. You notice the courage it takes to say no when you mean it, to say yes when you want to try, to speak up for your own needs even if your voice shakes. You realize that bravery isn't about being fearless. It's about moving forward even when you're scared. You let yourself feel proud of every step, every effort, every moment you choose yourself. You begin writing a new story for your future self. You let go of the old narrative that says you're untrustworthy, unreliable, or broken. You pick up the pen and start fresh, crafting a story where you are the hero who learns, who grows, who forgives, who tries again. You imagine a future where you look back and thank yourself for not giving up. You practice self-encouragement daily. You become your own cheerleader, whispering words of support when doubt creeps in. You remind yourself that progress is not always visible, that growth happens in the quiet moments, that healing is a journey, not a race. You learn to offer yourself the same kindness you would give to a friend. You turn self-doubt into self-inquiry. Instead of letting doubt paralyze you, you get curious. You ask, what am I afraid of? What do I need right now? What would help me feel safe to try? You listen to your answers without judgment, knowing that every question is a doorway to understanding yourself better. You build trust one gentle step at a time. You don't demand perfection from yourself. You allow yourself to make mistakes, to learn, to adjust. You recognize that trust is not a destination, but a relationship you nurture with patience and care. You notice how your confidence grows with each promise kept. You start to believe in your own ability to make choices, to handle setbacks, to recover from disappointment. You realize that you can trust yourself to show up, even when things are hard. You create rituals that anchor you in self-trust. Maybe you start each morning by setting an intention for the day, one small thing you will do for yourself. Maybe you end each night by reflecting on what you did well, no matter how minor. Maybe you keep a journal of your victories, a record of every time you honored your own needs. You surround yourself with reminders of your progress. You post affirmations on your mirror, keep encouraging notes in your phone, or wear a bracelet that symbolizes your commitment to yourself. You let these reminders be gentle nudges, guiding you back to trust when you start to drift. You learn to forgive yourself quickly. When you break a promise or fall back into old patterns, you don't use it as evidence against yourself. You acknowledge the slip, offer yourself understanding, and try again. You realize that trust is built not by never failing, but by always returning. You start to see your life as a series of experiments, not a test you have to pass. You give yourself permission to try new things, to take risks, to explore what feels right for you. You understand that every choice is a chance to practice self-trust, to prove to yourself that you are worthy of your own belief. You celebrate your resilience. You recognize the strength it takes to keep going, to keep believing, to keep loving yourself even when it's hard. You honor the journey you've been on, the lessons you've learned, the growth you've achieved. You remind yourself, I am building trust with myself, one gentle step at a time. Every promise I keep to myself matters. I am allowed to celebrate my progress. I am writing a new story for my future. Practical step. Tonight, choose one small promise to make to yourself for tomorrow. It could be as simple as taking a walk, drinking a glass of water, or pausing to breathe when you feel anxious. Write it down, and when you keep that promise, celebrate it. Let this be the first brick in the bridge back to self-trust. You are healing. You are growing. You are becoming someone who can trust themselves again, not because you're perfect, but because you're willing to try. There is a kind of peace that comes not from having all the answers, but from learning to trust your own choices. You begin to find comfort in your own decisions, even when they're small, even when they're uncertain. You realize that every time you choose for yourself, you are building a foundation of self-respect, a quiet confidence that grows with every step. You start standing tall in your own truth. You no longer shrink to fit someone else's expectations or hide your feelings to keep the peace. You speak honestly, even if your voice is soft. You let your needs matter, even if they're different from what others want for you. You discover that authenticity is a form of strength and that your truth deserves space in the world. You let your heart lead, even when it's trembling. You know that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward despite it. You listen to the gentle pull inside you, the longing for joy, the hope for connection, the desire to grow. You follow that pull, step by step, trusting that your heart knows the way, even if your mind is still learning to believe. You begin to understand the quiet power of self-acceptance. It's not about ignoring your flaws or pretending you're perfect. It's about looking at yourself with honest eyes and saying, I am enough, just as I am. You stop fighting your own reflection. Stop wishing you were someone else. Stop measuring your worth by someone else's standards. You become your own anchor in the storm. When life gets chaotic, when emotions run high, when the world feels overwhelming, you return to yourself. You ground yourself in your own presence, in your own breath, in the knowledge that you have survived every hard day so far. You remind yourself that you are your own safe place, that you can weather any storm with patience and grace. You learn to trust your journey, even when the path is unclear. You accept that you won't always know what comes next, that uncertainty is part of being alive. You let go of the need to control every outcome, to predict every twist and turn. You choose to believe that you are capable of handling whatever comes, that you can adapt, that you can grow. You notice how your inner dialogue shifts. The voice that once criticized now encourages. The thoughts that once doubted now reassure. You become your own supporter, your own guide, your own friend. You start to see challenges as opportunities to practice self-trust. Every obstacle becomes a chance to listen to your intuition, to honor your boundaries, to stand by your own side. You realize that setbacks are not failures, but invitations to deepen your relationship with yourself. You celebrate the moments when you choose yourself, even when it's hard. You honor the times you say no to what doesn't serve you, yes to what lights you up, and maybe to what you're still figuring out. You recognize that every choice is a declaration of self-worth. You find strength in your vulnerability. You allow yourself to be seen, to be known, to be loved for who you are, not just for what you can do or how you appear. You share your story, not to seek approval, but to offer hope to others who are still searching for their own. You notice how your relationships begin to shift. You attract people who respect your boundaries, who support your healing, who celebrate your growth. You let go of those who cannot meet you where you are, who expect you to be someone you're not, who cannot accept your authenticity. You discover that you are enough, just as you are. You stop chasing validation from others. Stop seeking approval from the outside. Stop measuring your worth by someone else's standards. You realize that your value is inherent, unchanging, and independent of anyone else's opinion. You remind yourself, I am at peace with my own decisions. I stand tall in my truth. I let my heart lead, even when it's trembling. I am my own anchor in the storm. I trust my journey, even when the path is unclear. You begin to dream bigger dreams. You allow yourself to imagine a future where you are not held back by self-doubt, where you pursue your passions, where you trust your own voice. You set intentions, not as demands, but as invitations to grow. You become your own advocate. You speak up for yourself, even when your voice shakes. You stand up for your own happiness, even when it feels risky. You choose to believe in your own potential, even when the path ahead is unclear. You find peace in the present moment. You stop waiting for everything to be perfect before you start living. You realize that you can have moments of joy even while you're still healing, that you can laugh even with a heavy heart, that you can love even with old wounds. You are not defined by your past. You are not limited by your fears. You are the author of your own story, the creator of your own future, the guardian of your own heart. As you move forward, you carry this calm strength with you. It is the quiet confidence that you can face whatever comes next. It is the gentle assurance that you are enough, just as you are. It is the steady belief that trusting yourself is not just possible, it is your birthright. Welcoming trust back into your life is like opening a window after a long winter. At first, the air feels unfamiliar, almost too fresh, but slowly you realize you've been longing for this breath of hope. You let the sunrise of self-belief warm your heart, letting its gentle light touch the places that have been cold for too long. You stand in that light, not hiding, not shrinking, but allowing yourself to be seen by yourself, most of all. You begin to write a love letter to your own courage. You remember the days you kept going, even when you doubted every step. You honor the moments you chose to try again, even when your heart was still trembling. You see now that courage isn't loud or dramatic. It's the quiet decision to keep showing up for yourself day after day. You realize that the journey matters more than the destination. You look back and see not just the pain, but the growth, the way you learn to listen to your own voice, the way you learn to forgive your own mistakes, the way you learn to trust your own heart. You understand that every setback was a lesson, every detour a chance to discover something new about yourself. You invite hope to sit beside your doubt. You don't have to banish uncertainty to move forward. You can let hope and doubt share the same space, knowing that both are part of being human. You learn to hold your own hand through the questions, to offer yourself patience when the answers don't come right away. You start to see trust as a living thing, something you nurture, something you tend to, something that grows stronger with care. You water it with small acts of self-kindness. Feed it with gentle words. Protect it from the harshness of old criticism. You watch as it takes root, as it begins to blossom, as it fills your life with new possibilities. You remind yourself that you are not the same person you were when trust was broken. You have changed. You have grown. You have become someone who knows how to heal. You honor the journey, not just the destination, knowing that every step has brought you closer to yourself. You let go of the need to be perfect. You accept that you will make mistakes, that you will have doubts, that you will sometimes falter. But you also know that you will keep trying, keep learning, keep loving yourself through it all. You find beauty in your own resilience. You see strength in your softness, power in your vulnerability, wisdom in your willingness to begin again. You realize that trusting yourself is not about never being hurt, it's about believing you can recover, no matter what happens. You start to dream with new eyes. You imagine a future where you trust your own choices, where you follow your own path, where you believe in your own worth. You set intentions, not as demands, but as invitations to grow, to explore, to become. You remind yourself, I am welcoming trust back into my life. I let the sunrise of self-belief warm my heart. I honor my journey, not just my destination. I invite hope to sit beside my doubt. You become your own safe place. You learn to comfort yourself in the darkness, to celebrate yourself in the light, to trust yourself in the in-between. You understand that you are worthy of your own belief, that you are deserving of your own forgiveness, that you are capable of your own healing. You ask yourself, what's one way you'll trust yourself today? Maybe it's making a decision without asking for permission. Maybe it's listening to your intuition, even if it feels risky. Maybe it's forgiving yourself for a small mistake or celebrating a tiny victory. Share your answer in the comments. Let this be a space where your journey is honored, where your courage is celebrated, where your trust is witnessed. Let this be the beginning of a new story, one where you are not just surviving, but truly living. You are not alone. You are not broken. You are not defined by the times you doubted yourself. You are seen. You are brave. You are enough.